everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss algebra. Now, algebra is a very interesting subject that can also get out of hand really quickly once we start getting into the more difficult parts, where sometimes it appears as if there are no more numbers left in maths and there are just letters. However, algebra is a very important part of maths, no matter how much it may start feeling like English. Algebra is used to define unknown values and basically assign them something that can be used to describe them. In our case, we use letters like A, B, C, X, Y, and Z. Now, algebra wasn't created by one person or one country. It came across through many countries and many different mathematicians. The earliest forms of algebra were seen in Mesopotamia and Egypt, where they were the first ones to actually describe algebra. However, they didn't really use numbers or letters, they used more so words to describe the equations and the answers. In Greece, we have Euclid and Diophantus. Euclid was the one who introduced geometric algebra in his published volume, The 13 Elements, where geometric algebra is basically where you use geometry like shapes to give a visual to the equations. Like, for example, if you want to visualize a squared, you could have a square where all the side lengths are a. Diophantus didn't instead used words and notations instead of geometry to describe the equations, which is more similar to the algebraic form we use today in his book, The Arithmetica. In India, we have a great mathematician, Brahmagupta, who introduced the general solutions for linear and quadratic equations in his many publications. In fact, he gave what is known as one of the very early but very similar versions to the current solution for the quadratic general solution for the quadratic equation that we have now. In China, there was a mathematician, Lu Hui, who compiled the book The Nine Chapters on the Mathematical Art, which had concepts like the Gaussian elimination, which was actually introduced, which was much before Gauss was ever born. And now we come to the final country, Arabia, where we have the father of algebra. Now, there was a Persian mathematician called Muhammad ibn Musa al Khwarizmi. Please excuse my pronunciation, I'm not very good at them. So now he wrote the book, which his name is right here, which was basically the book that established the field of algebra. In fact, the name algebra comes from this word right here, algebra. So, in his book, he introduced the most basic form of algebra that we use today and solutions for linear equations, quadratic equations. In fact, in his book, to solve a quadratic equation, first you had to take it and put it into one of six forms that he had written in his book, and then there were steps on how you could solve it from that. Using these methods that he had written in his book, you could solve most of the algebra that they needed at that time. And this book was so famous that it was translated into many different languages and sold across the country, which is why he is known as the father of algebra. And this was in 820 CE. So now, while Al-Khwarizmi had written the book, modern notation that we use for current algebra, the symbols that we use for inequalities were introduced by Francois Vite, who introduced all the modern notation that we use now. Rene Descartes also expanded on it and is the reason why we usually use A, B, and C for values that we already know and X, Y, and Z for values that we don't know. Now, in fact, after the quadratic equation, there is actually another equation that isn't generally taught in school, which is the cubic equation. Now, there's a very good story to how they actually came up with the solution to that equation. Now, up to that point, so the solution was discovered around the 1500th century. Now, up to that point, most people used geometry a lot to create algebra because it was the one that they used in real life, right? Because it was more easy to imagine. So now, to solve the cubic equation, the person who came up with the first ever solution to it was Scorpio del Ferro. However, he didn't submit his solution to or publish his solution to the world because at that time, mathem- being a mathematician was very difficult because anyone could come at any point and take your job by challenging you to a duel. And in that duel, each mathematician would give each other a set of 30 questions, and whichever mathematician got the most number of questions correct would win the duel and take his job. So that's why he kept the solution hidden, so that if someone ever tried to take his job, he could give them the cubic equation questions since no one could solve them. And at that time, it wasn't a solution for the normal cubic equation, but a solution for the depressed cubic equation, which is a form of the cubic equation without the quadratic part, which is basically the x squared or like a constant x squared, like 2x squared. That part was removed and it was called the depressed cubic. Now, he passed down this solution to one of his apprentices who wasn't that good of a mathematician, but he bragged about knowing the solution for that and coming up with it himself for a lot of time. So then one mathematician got very interested and decided to challenge him to a duel because he wanted to know the solution. And after he challenged him to a duel, the student was very smug because he just gave him a set of depressed cubics to solve. Now, at the end of the duel, the mathematician that had challenged to a duel had gotten all the depressed cubics correct, while the apprentice wasn't able to solve a single math question. The reason that happened was because the mathematician that came to challenge him had already made another solution for solving the depressed cubic before he challenged him so that he would be able to solve it. After that, another mathematician who was very interested in knowing the solution came to him and asked him for the solution. However, for the same reason that Scorpio del Ferro did never publish a solution, he also refused. But after persistence and writing him many letters, he finally gave him the solution on the condition that he never told it to anyone else. And he did keep his promise. However, this mathematician didn't really care about the math dues, and he wanted a solution for the general cubic equation that he could give to everyone. So once he used that, he went to the actual cubic equation and he managed to solve it by cancelling out the quadratic term and then using the solution for the depressed cubic. He wanted to publish it but knew he couldn't because he had sworn that he wouldn't tell. So then he was in desperate need of another solution that he could use. And later he found the solution of Scorpio del Ferro and he used that one and published the solution without anyone finding out. Now, obviously, this mathematician got mad that how could he submit it without actually telling him and because he had sworn an oath. But he said that I didn't use your solution. Technically, I got it from Scorpio del Ferro, so it doesn't count. Now, there was a very interesting thing in his solution because at that point in time, since they related everything to real life, they didn't really use negative numbers for anything. So, any solutions with negative numbers was not corrected at the time. Like, usually, whenever you have an equation which has a square term, the answer is either going to be positive or negative because once you square root it, like for example, the square root of 4 is not just 2, it is either plus 2 or minus 2 because they both amount to 4. So at that point, they only knew the positive solutions to their equations and never actually used the negative solutions to their equations. The mathematicians didn't even think of that at that time. However, when he was solving the cubic equation, the general solution, he came across a very peculiar term, which was the square root of a negative number. Now those numbers are known as imaginary numbers, or I, which is basically the square of negative numbers. But the reason this term was so peculiar because negative numbers can't have square roots, because any number multiplied by itself will always give a positive number. Two negative numbers always give a positive, and two positives also always give a positive. The only way to get a negative number is to multiply a positive and a negative number. However, if you do that, it's not a square because it's not the same number. So technically, this number couldn't exist, but it does. While he didn't publish it later, and in fact, now I is a very famous number that is actually used in many of the equations that we have now, and also the equation that we have that can best describe everything that we know about physics. And I is in there, even though it doesn't really make sense. In fact, the person who created that equations himself is still very conflicted about I. However, it works in that term, even if it can't actually exist. Anyways, that's all for today. Like and subscribe.